understand. I used to watch, what is it? The Real Housewives of Atlanta, like years ago. But I understand that those television shows, they instigate negativity. They instigate stuff within the cast members who are on the show. Like, if there is nothing that's going on negative, like, they won't have a show. Why can't we have a show where there's Real Housewives of Atlanta, where they're teaching each other how to grow a business, where all of them are getting along, and they're walking through the earth trying to do something different? Why does there have to be drama and conflict within a show? And then whatever it is that they perpetuate on that show, and the things that they say, it's universal. It becomes universal. These young people, not even young people, there are older people sitting in not even just judging the show or the women that are on the show. Then they get into their own particular world where they are walking around the planet doing the same thing, talking about other women or talking about other men. And it's just crazy. It doesn't have to be that way. Like, if your consciousness was elevated, you'd realize that everybody has gone through some crazy shit. The reason why people do stuff, we can sit there and we can say, oh my God, that was just stupid that she did. Well, we don't know that her mama taught her how to be stupid, or, or her mama taught her a certain way. And yes, when we get adults, there's Google, there's all these different things, but that doesn't mean that everybody is conscious enough to know how to utilize those things, or how they may know about those things, but how to actually, use that within their lives. It's up to us to change the trajectory of society and stop having this mentality where, well, I'm just going to say anything, or I'm going to bop her in her head. For what? She don't know no better. That's like, excuse me if I'm saying something wrong, because it's not my intention, but that's if you know that a person is slow or they have some kind of issue, you kind of like give them some leeway. Well, I ask you to give leeway to people who, just because you can't see their, physically you can't see their inadequacies, or you can't see their disabilities physically, it doesn't mean that they don't have them. And so give them the leeway and say, you know what, I understand you may not know X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that they're saying that sounds totally preposterous, but let me share this with you. And even give them a story from your life, because you learned some stuff. You don't know everything. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. And I want to be in a world where I'm constantly learning about something. And it doesn't have to mean that because I'm being more conscious or being more elevated that I'm so serious or staunch. You could teach it to me in a lesson that is funny, a funny post about something that's intellectual, and I could crack the hell up. Like, stop utilizing the world in a way that demeans us all, because basically that is what we're doing. We're not stepping up because it takes work to step up, and we want to be lazy, and we don't want to tell, the next person who's standing beside us that, sis, have you thought about it this way? Or young man, have you thought about it this way? Because we'd rather either A, we're afraid, we're scared. Let's just say it, you chicken shit. You chicken shit to tell some young person something because you think they're going to go off on you. So what if they do? You just planted a seed. If you know what it is that you're saying is correct, you just planted a seed, because no matter what happens with them from that point on, they can go and tell the world, well, I had to tell this old biddy such and such and such, she said to me. And then somebody will say to them, well, what she said to you was right. You know what I mean? So regardless of what the outcome is, don't be afraid, to get told off. Don't be afraid, to have somebody, think you know everything. It's not that I know everything. I want to share some things with you because I want you to know something a little bit different, or just to give you a different way of thinking about it. You do what it is that you want, but, have you thought about it this way? Don't be a chicken shit. Have courage. Be bold. Talk about some things, We need everybody the way that everybody, thinks those elevated thoughts. Don't hold that shit to yourself and say, I don't want to say it because, I might hurt somebody's feelings. Well, if that's not your intentions to hurt somebody's feelings, if they take it that way, that has more to do with them than it does you. So say what it is that you need to say. Do what it is that you need to do that's going to elevate the consciousness of the world, because we need that. Y'all, I mean, really, you know, if you're not doing those things, you're responsible. You're responsible for the acts that I create, because I'm breathing in the universal consciousness just by walking in the world, just by being in the world. All that stuff hangs in the air. You know, when somebody thinks crazy thoughts and nobody changes them or help them to think something different or give them another way of looking at things, they continuously do that, and it hangs in the air, and you just walk away and bam, here's this crazy ass thought, and you start thinking crazy, and you wondering, why am I being so negative today? Because you just walked into a negative mist, a mist of negativity. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, people. I love you. And I'm probably not saying a whole lot of things that I was really thinking or meditating that came to me in my meditation. But throughout the weeks, I'll start, you know, talking about some different things. But come on, let's elevate. Let's elevate. You know, Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm not dogging them. The other housewives, I'm not dogging them. But they are responsible for what happens in the universe, because they have a massive platform. So when you see these little girls, you know, talking about one another or trying to beat each other up or being bullies, all that shit comes from what it is that you're watching. And your kids are at school being bullies, and you say, I don't know why they act like that. Because your ass is a bully. You a bully. Stop being a bully. You bully your kids, and your kids go and bully everybody else. Start talking to these kids. Start giving them new ways of thinking. Start asking them questions to make them think. You might know the answer, but ask them a question. Whatever it is that they're doing, ask them, well, why did you think to do that? You know, make them make shit make sense to them. And if it don't make sense, help them to see that doesn't make sense. Would you have a different outcome if you did X, Y, and Z? Talk to them. Stop yelling at these kids. And the only reason why I can say that is because I have been able to be around, you know, other people who have children. And I thought to myself, oh my God, that was me. Is that how I raised my kids? Like yelling at them rather than having a conversation with them? You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong now. I talk to my kids at least once a month. I had to sit down with them, but I should have been doing that every day, you know, developing their minds, because we're mothers, fathers, we're creating these children that are coming into the world. And then we want to say, you know, this generation. What do you mean this generation? They came after you. You're the one who taught them. So whatever is going on, it's your fault. Plain and simple. It's my fault. When I look at my children, the things that they have done that was not right, I have nobody else to blame but myself. And I blame myself, you know. And I try and correct it. I don't sit in that blame, though, because that's a whole other story. I don't sit in that particular thing. But the thing of it is that I really want us to begin to elevate our consciousness. And again, I'm going to say this. If we begin to think higher thoughts, if the collective conscious, if we begin to think higher thoughts, we won't need to advocate for anything. It just won't be necessary to advocate, because we all understand, you know, how the world works. We'll begin to understand how we as a people, individual works, how the people work, how society works. We really understand those things and understand things from a spiritual aspect of why things happen the way that they happen. Well, that's all I got. I'm going to leave it right there. I love you guys, and Happy New Year. Happy 2019. Let's go into this thing differently. You know, I've been seeing the posts where people saying, you know, basically they're tired of people saying New Year, new me, all of those things. We have good intentions. We just don't fulfill those intentions, you know. So let's just start individually. You ain't got to say it all out loud. Just get with yourself and say, you know, this is the thing that I don't like that I do, and I want to change that. So let me figure out a way to change it. Every time that I do this, I'm going to stop, or I want to recognize when I do it so that I can change my thinking around it, or change what I say, or change my actions. That's how things get changed. Not by you posting it on social media. Not even sometimes by you writing in a planner. It goes with the decision first to change those behaviors within yourself. To say, I'm going to be cognizant of it. I'm going to think about it. you know, and I'm going to think about doing something different. So every time when I get ready or I feel a certain way, when I begin to feel these things, I'm going to change and think about this because it'll make my thoughts happier. So instead of keep thinking all this down and whatever, just depression type thing, every time when I begin to feel that coming on, I'm going to think this one happy thought. I remember when we went to such and such, we had so much fun. So the more that you do that and the more that you think about those things, the less that those behaviors or those feelings or those thoughts will come into play. I love y'all. Peace out. Happy New Year. Let's go into this thing bold and courageous. Let's change the atmosphere, because I need y'all to change the atmosphere. Everybody needs you to change. Everybody needs you to change the atmosphere. Everybody needs you to change the atmosphere. So when they walk behind whatever mist that you have left, it is of a higher consciousness, is of a higher thought, is of a positive being. Come on now. Let's do it. Peace.